Ever noticed how your to-do list grows faster than your results? We sprint all day, yet the needle barely moves. Greg McKeown calls this the paradox of success. The more we achieve, the more options and obligations rush in, until our focus fractures and progress stalls. Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less, isn't about laziness or aesthetic minimalism. It's about choosing deliberately, protecting what matters, and building a life where a few vital actions receive almost all your energy. Essentialism asks a daring question. If you could do one thing with excellence, what would change the most? Instead of trying to be everywhere, you become astonishing somewhere. That shift turns boundaries into tools, trade-offs into strategy, and no into a complete sentence. You stop funding low-yield tasks with your most precious capital, attention, and start compounding gains on the highest leverage work. Meetings shrink, inboxes quiet, and the signal finally rises above the noise. In this summary, we'll compress McKeown's ideas into a clear operating system you can use today. You'll learn how to identify the vital few, eliminate the trivial many, and execute so consistently that momentum becomes your default setting. No hacks, no hustle theater, just a disciplined pursuit of less, so the right things move forward faster. Let's begin where all change starts: mindset. Before tactics and tools, there's a choice you can make. What truly matters? That's our first stop. How to choose what's essential. The mental model, less but better. The 90% rule, and the non-negotiables that protect your best work.
Section 1. Mindset. Choose what's essential. Imagine your attention as a spotlight on a dark stage. Wherever it points, that area lights up and everything else fades into the background. Most of us try to swivel the light so fast that nothing stays illuminated long enough to matter. Essentialism teaches us to slow the turn, pick one spot, and flood it with brightness until something real takes shape. Greg McKeown calls out a trap many ambitious people fall into: the paradox of success. You do good work, which creates more options. More options create more commitments. More commitments dilute focus. Diluted focus reduces the quality of your results, which pushes you to run even faster, accept even more, until you're busy all the time but strangely underachieving. Essentialism breaks that loop by asking a sharper question than, how can I do it all? The better question is, what is the one thing that, if done exceptionally well, will make the highest contribution right now? An essentialist believes choice is a superpower. You always have it, even when your calendar says you don't. The non-essentialist treats every request as equal and urgent. The essentialist treats most requests as noise and a precious few as signal. That's not cold or selfish, it's responsible. Your time is a limited fund. Spending it on everything is the fastest way to have nothing to show. So how do you recognize what's essential? Start with clarity. Write a one-sentence strategy for the next 90 days. Just one sentence, no commas if you can help it. For example, for Q1, I will grow revenue by focusing on our top 2 client segments with one flagship offer. Or, for the next 12 weeks, I will finish my certification by studying 60 minutes each morning before work. This single line is your North Star. If an opportunity fits, it gets consideration. If it doesn't, it's out. No drama required. Next comes the 90% rule. Score incoming options, projects, meetings, partnerships against your criteria on a 0 to 100 scale. If it's not a 90 or above, it's a no. Not a maybe later, not a let me think, a no. This rule cuts through the fog of pretty good and protects room for the rare absolutely. It feels uncomfortable at first because you'll decline decent things, but decent is the main enemy of great. Watch how quickly your schedule clears when pretty good stops winning. A helpful filter is the highest point of contribution. Ask, where do your strengths, your passion, and a real need intersect right now? Suppose you're decent at design, strong in sales, and excellent at strategy. Where will 1 hour produce the most meaningful difference? Probably not fiddling with a slide's color palette. It's likely in the strategic meeting, shaping direction, or in a focused sales conversation that moves the needle. Essentialists keep choosing that highest point of contribution, even when lower-value tasks beg for attention. Let's talk trade-offs. Non-essentialists treat trade-offs as failures. If you say yes to one thing, you're letting someone down somewhere else. Essentialists treat trade-offs as strategy. By choosing this, I am intentionally not choosing that. Investors can't buy every stock. Founders can't build every feature. You can't pursue every good idea. Write your trade-offs down. By dedicating mornings to deep work, I am trading reactive email time for progress on the book. That single sentence turns vague guilt into clear intention. Non-negotiables are another pillar of the essentialist mindset. Think of them as guardrails that keep the car from falling off the cliff. Sleep is a non-negotiable. It's not indulgence, it's maintenance for your brain. Movement is a non-negotiable. A quick walk often solves problems that 2 more hours at the desk can't. Protected deep work blocks are non-negotiable. Pick a regular window, say 9 to 11 a.m., and defend it like you would a medical appointment. During these blocks, close the tabs, mute the phone, and do the thing that actually advances your one-sentence strategy. Clarity also means knowing what to stop. Create a priority kill list. Every week, list 3 commitments you will eliminate, outsource, or pause. It might be a recurring meeting that no longer serves a purpose, a side project that's become a guilt anchor, or a habit like check Slack every 10 minutes. Use the test. If I didn't already have this on my plate, would I start it today? If the answer is no, take action to remove it or put a clean end date on it. Another simple practice is design your defaults. Make the essential path the easiest path. Before you start the day, stage your work like a chef. 1 document open, 1 tab, 1 tool. Keep all active materials in a single now space. Set your calendar to auto-block a daily focus window and switch your devices to Do Not Disturb during it. When your environment nudges you toward the vital few and slows the trivial many, you rely less on willpower and more on design. So starting becomes natural and staying with it becomes effortless. Here's a day-in-the-life contrast. Non-essentialist morning, you open your phone in bed, reply to 3 messages, scroll, rush breakfast, and promise yourself you'll get serious later. You arrive at your desk already scattered, say yes to 2 impromptu calls, and spend the afternoon catching up on the work you meant to do in the morning. Essentialist morning, your phone stays outside the bedroom, you review your one-sentence strategy, open the single document that matters most, and work deeply for 90 minutes before the world wakes up. You say no to 2 requests that don't score above 90, and you end the day with a concrete result, not just motion. The difference isn't talent, it's selection. A few prompts to keep handy. If I could only move 1 thing forward this week, what would it be? What would this look like if it were easy? What is the smallest, meaningful next step I can finish today? Finally, give yourself room for reality. Build buffers into your schedule. If a task will probably take an hour, block 90 minutes. If a launch might slip, plan for it. Buffers aren't pessimism, they're respect for how life works. They keep your essential work from getting crushed by the first surprise of the day. Choosing what's essential is not a one-time declaration. It's a daily practice. You will drift, that's okay. Recenter on your one-sentence strategy, apply the 90% rule, honor your non-negotiables, and make deliberate trade-offs. When you do, the spotlight stops whipping around the stage. It settles on the one performance that deserves your full light, and that's where your best work finally emerges.
Section 2. Eliminate. Say no gracefully. Choosing the essential is powerful, but the real turning point, as Greg McKeown stresses in Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less, is what happens next. You eliminate everything that doesn't serve the essential. This is the uncomfortable art of no. Not the angry, dramatic no, McKeown is careful about that, but the clear, courteous, repeatable no that protects your highest contribution. Think of elimination like editing a great paragraph. The first draft is messy, full of interesting but unnecessary words. The final draft reads clean because you removed what doesn't move the meaning forward. Your life needs that same editor's eye. Most of what shows up in your inbox, calendar, or notifications is not harmful. It's just not the best use of you. The essentialist skill is separating nice to have from necessary, then removing the first to make room for the second. McKeown suggests building a repertoire, a set of ready phrases that let you decline without guilt or friction. Because in the moment, when someone is asking, it's hard to improvise. You want words you can trust. Try a calm, appreciative refusal. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm focusing on a few priorities this quarter and won't be able to take this on. Or a trade-off question that puts the choice where it belongs. I can help, but that would replace work on Project A. Which should we pause? These responses are not confrontational, they are honest reflections of finite time. There's also the conditional yes, which McKeown notes can expose hidden costs. You can say, if we can limit this to a 15-minute call with an agenda, I can do it. Often the request dissolves or shrinks. Another option is the not now, but later, used sparingly to avoid kicking the can forever. This month is full. If it's still relevant next month, let's revisit. Each phrase aims at the same outcome: protect attention for the vital few. A key principle from Essentialism is to treat commitments like investments. Before you buy more, audit your portfolio. Open your calendar and list all recurring meetings, routines, and obligations. For each one, ask McKeown's essential question: does this activity serve the highest point of contribution? If not, you have choices. Cancel it outright. Delegate it to someone who will grow by doing it. Reduce it, shorter, less frequent, or bundled with other tasks. Or put a clear end date on it. Many standing meetings exist only because they've always existed. When you gently challenge the premise, what specific decision requires this weekly hour? You'll find that some vanish without consequence. Email and messaging deserve special attention. McKeown frames attention as capital. Low-yield pings are poor investments. Limit your checks to set windows. Use short, clear responses that close loops instead of opening new ones. If a thread wanders, move it to a decision. Here are the two options and my recommendation. If I don't hear otherwise by tomorrow, I'll proceed. That single sentence eliminates endless back and forth and returns you to essential work. Then there are zombie projects, a term many readers adopt after encountering McKeown's thinking. Initiatives that refuse to die even though they don't serve a clear purpose. Put these on trial. What is the outcome? What's the evidence it matters? What's the cost of continuing for another 90 days? Sunsetting something is not failure. It's the discipline that keeps your resources flowing to what truly counts. In Essentialism, the courage to cut is presented not as harshness, but as stewardship. Boundaries are the physical expression of elimination. Without them, the trivial many creep back in. Decide on your no meeting zones, your deep work blocks, and your office closed hours, even if your office is a laptop at the kitchen table. Share those boundaries proactively and kindly. I reserve mornings for focused work and take meetings after 1 p.m. People respect what you consistently enforce. Over time, your environment begins to protect your priorities for you. You'll notice resistance, inside and out. Internally, fear of missing out whispers, "What if this was the opportunity?" McKeown's answer is discipline. If it's not clearly essential now, it's not your opportunity now. Externally, some people will push back, especially if they've grown used to your instant yes. Keep your tone warm and your stance firm. You're not refusing people, you're refusing misalignment. As the book emphasizes, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Let's simplify the daily practice. Start by pre-deciding your criteria. Write them down. I say yes only to projects that 1. Align with my one-sentence strategy, 2. Leverage my top strengths, 3. Have clear outcomes, and 4. Are an unmistakable 90-100 fit. Now, when a request arrives, you're not judging the person, you're measuring against criteria. This removes emotion and speeds up decisions. Next, prune on a schedule. McKeown compares elimination to routine maintenance. Pick a weekly time to review commitments. Ask 3 questions. What can I cancel entirely? What can I delegate to someone who will grow by doing it? What can I reduce? Shorter, less frequent, or bundled with other tasks. 10 minutes of pruning each week saves hours of drift. Also practice the awkward pause. When someone asks for something, don't rush to fill silence with a yes. Take a breath. Check your criteria. Offer one of your prepared responses. Silence is uncomfortable for a moment. Resentment from overcommitment is uncomfortable for weeks. Elimination also applies to choices you make for yourself. Look at your tools and workflows. Too many apps create context switching. Choose one capture tool, one task list, one calendar, one place for long-form work. Consolidation is elimination. The fewer doors your attention can wander through, the more time it spends where you intended. McKeown highlights a subtle but crucial shift. Instead of asking, "How can I fit it all in?" ask, "What will I go big on? And what will I go small or zero on?" That single shift reframes life from cramming to choosing. You will disappoint someone. Let it not be your future self. Remember, every no you say to the trivial many is a yes held in reserve for the vital few. Here's how this feels when it starts working. Your calendar looks lighter, not because you're doing nothing, but because you're doing the right thing with room to breathe. Meetings have agendas, or they don't exist. Email takes place in windows, not all day. Projects have outcomes and end dates. You decline with warmth. You move faster because there's less in the way. And perhaps most surprising, relationships often improve. People learn that when you do say yes, you deliver at a higher standard. Elimination isn't a one-time purge. It's a craft. In Essentialism, McKeown invites you to make this a habit. Select with extreme criteria. Decline with grace. Prune with rhythm, and build boundaries that keep the garden clean. The reward isn't an empty calendar. It's a focused life. With the trivial many cleared, your best work finally has space to grow.
Section 3. Execute. Make it effortless. We've chosen the essential and cleared the non-essential. Now we make the essential easy to do again and again. Greg McKeown reminds us that consistency beats intensity. Execution isn't a dramatic sprint, it's a smooth groove. Our goal here is to design that groove so the right actions happen almost on autopilot. Start with a simple idea. Make success your default. If the essential task requires a heroic burst of willpower every day, it will lose to a slightly easier distraction. So shift the burden from willpower to design. Put the first step of your essential work where you can't miss it. One document on your desktop, one link pinned, one checklist in plain sight. When you sit down, you're already halfway in. Protect the asset, your energy.
McKeown is blunt about this. Sleep, movement, and recovery are not rewards for finishing the work. They are prerequisites for doing it well. If you want effortless execution, treat your body like the machine that builds your results. Set a bedtime you honor. Walk or stretch daily. Replace random grazing with a few reliable meals. These aren't lifestyle upgrades, they are operational upgrades. A well-rested brain makes essential work feel lighter and faster. Next, build routine as a scaffold. Routines remove decision friction so you can use your brain for creation, not constant choosing. Over time, your mind learns, when I'm here at this hour, I do this. That association is power. Create generous buffers. In the book, McKeown urges us to plan for the reality that life is messy. If a task probably needs an hour, block 90 minutes. If a project seems like 2 weeks, plan 3. Buffers are not laziness, they're insurance against the unexpected. With buffers, you still finish on time, without panic. Start with something small. Take the first step. Momentum compounds. 10 small, clear steps beat one intimidating giant step you avoid for a week. Use if-then planning to lock in your moves. If it's 9 a.m., then I open the proposal draft. If I finish a deep work block, then I log a 1-sentence summary of progress. If-then rules turn intentions into triggers. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like it?" The rule answers for you. Design a visible scoreboard. Keep it simple. 3 essential metrics for the week that you can update in under a minute. Pages drafted, sales conversations held, client features shipped. Post them where you work. Progress you can see is progress you'll repeat. Pair it with a done list. Every time you finish an essential action, write it down. The done list is a momentum mirror. It proves to your brain that the system is working. Front-load the day. Give your freshest energy to the essential before you open the doors to the non-essential. The morning isn't magic, it's simply earlier than other people's priorities. When the most important work is done first, the rest of the day can flex without sinking your momentum. If mornings aren't possible, pick the first uninterrupted block you can reliably defend. Automate the trivial many. Anything you do more than twice deserves a template, a checklist, or a canned response. Create email snippets for common answers. Use a simple project template for launches. Build a pre-flight checklist for meetings. Purpose, agenda, decisions needed. The point isn't to be robotic. It's to save creativity for the parts that truly require it. Guard transitions. Most people lose time not in the work, but in the seams between tasks. Before you switch, write the next action for the thing you're leaving. Like, next, write the intro quote. Then, close it with intention. When you return, you don't have to rethink, you just restart. This small habit can save hours each week. Practice the effortless restart. Off days will happen. Travel, illness, life. An essentialist doesn't catastrophize. They restart small and soon. The rule, miss once, never twice. When you return, do the smallest meaningful move immediately. The point is to reattach to the habit loop, not to make up for lost time in one grand gesture. Do a weekly reset. 10 to 15 minutes, same time each week. Review the 1-sentence strategy, look at your scoreboard, and choose the 3 most essential moves for the next 7 days. Then pre-schedule the deep work blocks that will make them happen. End with a quick pre-mortem. What could derail this plan? Add buffers or boundaries accordingly. This ritual keeps execution aligned with intention. Use doors shut language with yourself and others. A quick phrase like, "I'm in focus time until 11," sets expectation and reduces interruptions. To yourself, it's a promise. For this block, I am unavailable to everything except the essential task. Remind yourself that saying no to distractions for 50 minutes is not forever. It's just until the timer rings. Finally, connect execution to meaning. Essentialism is not about mechanical efficiency. It's about directing a finite life toward the highest contribution. Write a single line at the top of your week that answers why this matters. Finishing this proposal helps the team grow in the right direction. Meaning reduces friction. When the task is linked to a purpose you care about, starting is easier and staying with it feels natural. Put it together and the experience changes. You don't wake up dreading the essential. You meet it with a prepared path. The document is there. The time is set. The first step is small. Your body is rested. Your rules are clear. Distractions meet resistance. Focus meets a green light. You move, you ship, you reset, you repeat. McKeown's message is elegantly simple. Make the right thing the easy thing. Protect the asset, add buffers, build routines, shrink steps, use triggers, track progress you can see, and above all, keep stripping away everything that makes the essential harder than it needs to be. When you do, execution stops being a daily fight and becomes a daily flow. The disciplined pursuit of less, performed with steadily increasing ease.
So that's the heart of Greg McKeown's Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. Choose, eliminate, execute. Not as a one-time vow, but as a rhythm you return to every day. If this breakdown helped you cut through the noise, tap like. Subscribe for weekly book summaries on self-growth, finance, productivity, and entrepreneurship, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. Drop a comment and make it practical. What's one commitment you'll cut this week, and what's your one-sentence strategy for the next 90 days? Reading your answers sparks ideas for future videos and helps the whole community practice essentialism together. Share this video with a friend or teammate who's drowning in busy work. Sometimes a single idea, less but better, can reset a whole week. Thanks for watching. Do less, do it better, and I'll see you in the next summary.